So in 2000, we decided to get into the sports side of youth. The pro team was just a standalone pro team. We just felt like it was an opportunity to keep our players around, and we had some incredible guys that are great role models and mentors. So the more guys we could keep around in the off season, instead of having them go play indoor, it was good for the community. It was good for the development of young minds, and that's how the Richmond Kickers Youth Soccer Club got its start.
You're listening to America's Healthiest City on Mike King Biz Radio Network on ESPN Richmond 106.1 and Choice 105.3.
Welcome to America's Healthiest City on ESPN Richmond 106.1, part of the Mike King Biz Media Network. Today in the studio, we have Rob Ukrop, the co-owner and boss at the Richmond Kickers. We're going to talk about sports and community health today. And before we get into it, I just want you to check out americashealthiestcity.com. If you're new to this program, take a look at our ideas board, learn about our 10-year community partnership to make RVA the healthiest community in America by 2033. And if you represent a business, a nonprofit, an academic institution, or a government agency, and you want to see us move this needle in the right direction, please take a look at what it becomes to be an ambassador. We can do it with your help only, and it takes all of us. So it's free, doesn't cost anything. We'll help tell your story. So check it out, americashealthiestcity.com. Without further ado, Rob Ukrop, thank you for joining me in the studio today. I really appreciate this.
Thanks for having me on. Excited.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a choice. Our good friend Hunter Lehman strong-armed me into this interview. No, I'm just kidding. He actually said that you're somebody who is making a difference in the community, and we had him on in 2023. So this is a really welcome interview. There's a lot going on in soccer in 2024.
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, Hunter was a great guy, and he used to work with the Richmond Kickers long, long ago before the Sportable days, and he's doing a great job with Sportable. And we're always excited to see people that have been part of the Richmond Kickers family go on to do great things in the community, make it a stronger place to live. So.
Yeah. Well, we start the program out with all of our guests to really kind of get a little bit of a background. New to Richmond, been here forever.
Well, I was born at St. Mary's Bonsa Course facility in 1970, so I've been around a long time. I've lived all around. After college, I traveled around playing professional soccer, a bunch of different cities, and I ended up back here in 1996, and it's been my home since then, and it's just an incredible place to be. I'm just thankful to be part of the community, trying to do the little things that I can to make it a better place.
So this is ESPN. This is not a sports show, but we're going to talk about a lot of soccer today. So before we get into that, let's just start out with, have you done anything other than soccer in your life?
Oh, yeah. So my first job, I was squeezing orange juice at Ukrop Supermarkets, the Patterson location. It's now a Bonsa Course facility. Back in, I guess I was 11 years old. I was trying to go to England on a soccer trip, and I think I got paid $2 an hour. So that was my first work experience when I was 11, 12 years old. And I'm thankful to my grandparents, my mom and dad, just instilling a great work ethic in me. I think coolest thing I've ever done as a youth was we'd have a work week down at my granddad's farm and get up at 6 and work on the farm all day, drive the tractor, and just kind of understand the real part of the work part. It's nice to go sit in an office, but being outside on the land and just contributing to the community was always a cool thing. It's a great experience.
But it sounds like you were still working for the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun. I don't know. I think working with family is a really cool thing. Being 14, 15 at the time, you don't really appreciate all the great lessons you learn from your grandparents or your parents, but it's just a positive thing, just being outside. You never think about the fitness component, right? So when you're doing manual labor outside on a farm, there's this fitness component that you don't really think about. And then maybe you watch a Karate Kid, the original version, and all the little things that Miss Miyagi teaches, and you're like, there's all these different things you can learn and stay fit. And so I've just been blessed with a great family and great experiences.
Yeah, I just joined a gym. It's been a little while for me. And I tell folks before I join the gym that I carry water for a living. Richmond water cases aren't light. But you're right. Working outside, working with your hands is definitely a good fitness experience. I also similarly had a business family, but I lived far enough away from them that I didn't get to learn a lot of those lessons. But the summers I would go down to Florida and help my aunt with her tree trimming company, her and her husband. And that was everything from hauling brush to the chipper to learning how to use QuickBooks to send invoices and balance the books. So.
Yeah, that's a different level than my experience. But that sounds great. I mean, anytime just working with different people, I think whatever your calling is and whatever you do, I think there's an experience and there's a learning opportunity there. And Richmond, as before when we came in here, and Mike, I mean, just relationships that Mike King has built in the community are incredible. It sounds like you're doing the same thing. And there's a lot of people in Richmond. It's a great philanthropic city, not just in terms of giving, but in introducing and connecting and just being a connector so that you can find those people that can help you with that passion that you have to make the community stronger.
Well, I know we'll talk a lot about the philanthropic side of your work and how that ties in with the Richmond Kickers. But I want to talk a little bit about your upbringing. You went to collegiate here. You went to Davidson College. Tell me a little bit about your education experience. What did you take away from that you're applying today outside of the realm of soccer?
I mean, I think it just comes down to relationships. Yeah. My 7th grade history teacher, my 7th grade English teacher, they're 2 of my closest friends even today. They're both retired from teaching now, but just being around them and some of the lessons they taught me then that I didn't know I was learning, and just how they look out for you. And I think that's the most important thing, whatever industry you're in. You build these meaningful relationships with people, and some people don't appreciate them. And then sometimes you don't appreciate them until they're too late. So I'm just thankful to have guys like Mr. Blair and Mr. Bradshaw. They're still in my corner that have always encouraged me. I think I was never a great student. Thankfully let me into Davidson. I'm not quite sure how, but I got in back in the day. I couldn't get in now, but even down at Davidson, there's some of my professors and my college coach and the people that saw something in me that at the time I didn't see in myself. And they were able to bring that out of me, and whether it be a competitive spirit or a work ethic and just these qualities that sometimes you just don't understand that you have. So I think my collegiate experience, my David, is very, very similar in terms of I was lucky enough to be around great people that saw something to me and knew how to pull it out of me.
So we'll talk a little bit about some of the folks from Davidson College that you are working with now, but I want to talk a little bit about, if we could, your transition into the Kickers. I know that there's a gap there. So before you get to the Kickers, tell me a little bit about your involvement there and kind of what you were doing alongside in sport.
Yes,
so our listeners know.
So I played professional soccer. I had a great senior year in college at Davidson. I was very lucky. I got an offer to go to Europe. I got called to the U23 national team, so I spent most of the summer playing with them, and it just opened up some doors. So I ended up playing for 12 years. Back then, there was no Major League Soccer yet. You would play indoor soccer for 6 months, and then you play outdoor for 6 months. So you'd load up your car, throw your TV, your bed sheets, and drive to the next city for 6 months. And to me, it was really cool. It's a great way to make new friends, learn about new environments. And I did that, and I retired in 2004. And then at that point, the Richmond Kickers in 2000 started a youth club. So I was involved with that. I was on the board for many, many years. I was the board chair, and at some point, the youth club took over ownership of the pro team from the previous owners. And so I had a little bit of a taste of the ownership part through the nonprofit Richmond Kickers. And then in 2019, a couple of my college teammates and I, we knew it was for sale. We ended up buying it, and it's been a labor of love. Anybody that experienced COVID as a business owner knows the challenges of that. And I think what it did, it showed us how much sports and City Stadium as a community hub meant to the Richmond community.
Yeah. Well, I'm impressed by what you've been able to do, and I'm very intrigued by this sort of relationship between youth soccer and our professional team. So I understand that prior to the Richmond Kickers, the adult team, youth soccer's been big in Richmond for some time, and so that was really the impetus for starting this team.
Yeah, no. So the pro team started in 1993. We're the longest consecutively run outdoor professional team in the country. We're tied with Charleston. I think technically we have them by day. We played on a Friday in 93. They played on a Saturday. But between Charleston and Richmond, we're the longest running franchises. And it's been great. Even back then, there was a couple different clubs. There's mainly the Richmond Strikers was the only youth club back in the day. And then Greenfield Dragons and Pocashock and some other smaller neighborhood clubs. And then over the course of time, you also had the FC Richmond. And so in 2000, we decided to get into the sports side of youth. The pro team was just a standalone pro team. We just felt like it was an opportunity to keep our players around. And we had some incredible guys that are great role models and mentors. So the more guys we could keep around in the off season, instead of having them go play indoor, it was good for the community. It was good for the development of young minds. And that's how the Richmond Kickers Youth Soccer Club got its start. And then So while we are separate, they use our name currently. A guy named Lee Calishaw, who played on the first team in '93, he's the executive director of the youth club. We work out of the same office. We have some shared relationships, but that is a standalone youth club that works with the Richmond Strikers for another club called the Richmond United, which really supports our pros team significantly.
Great, thanks for unwinding that for me. That's
yeah, it's a little bit complicated, but soccer, there's always, it's funny. People are like, so is the goal to win? Everybody likes to win, but the soccer and the youth game, to me, it's a teaching. It's how do you develop young minds and young hearts and turn them into people that love soccer and take that love for soccer and turn it into something good, because there's only a few people that get to play professional soccer and have that blessing, but there's so many different ways to stay involved in the game.
You're listening to America's Healthiest City on ESPN Richmond 106.1, heard every Thursday at 6 a.m. here on the station. We have Rob Ukrop in the studio today, and we're talking about the Richmond Kickers. So you're adding another team this year. That's exciting.
Yeah, so this is the time where it's called W League Richmond. The name will get announced probably late February, early March. But we have a brand new brand. It's going to be a pre-professional women's team. It's how the men's got started in 1993. So we're super excited. We hired a sporting director, Madeline McCracken, who's a former Richmond. She has some ties with the Richmond soccer community. So she's working with us now as our sporting director. And we just hired a local coach, Kimmy Cummings, who is just exactly why you love this game of soccer. Grew up in Mechanicsville, played at Lee Davis, played at East Carolina, has been coaching for the Kickers and the Strikers youth clubs, and now Richmond United. So she's just the great role model and ambassador for the game. And she and Madeline are working hard to build a roster out for next season, or this, I guess we're in 2024. So actually for the next couple of months, but we're really excited to see the women, and, they're going to get treated just like the men playing at City Stadium. We're anticipating some big crowds there.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, my wife is a former soccer player in high school and college, and she also refereed. So she's a big fan. She's a bit more adamant about getting to games than I am. I actually went to my first Kickers game last year. I'm embarrassed to admit, but I did go, and I did have a great time. And I want to talk a little bit about the experience there, because it's truly a community experience. I mean, I feel like it's being there, it's evident that it's an investment that was made in Richmond that has made Richmond better. And is noted by the really outstanding crowd sizes you guys bring to games. I think you guys are top of the league. Right?
Yeah, we set a league attendance record last year. I think it was 4,786 per game, and we had two rainy days the last couple games of the season. So we were hoping to break 5,000. That, I guess we're going to try to get that done in 2024. But no, it's a great venue. Stuff has been happening at City Stadium since 1929. There's incredible history on that field. I think the coolest part, my dad was sharing with me about a year and a half ago, is that he went to a Billy Graham revival there with 17,000 people back in 1956. I think he was 11 years old, and Billy Graham's in the middle of the field, or whatever was there in the middle, baptizing people, so bringing people to the Lord. So everybody thinks about the sports part, but there's so many different activities that happen there. We have Carytown Farmers Market there. We have holiday festivals there, just so many different things that have been coming through City Stadium. Last year, we did close to 170 events. The year before, 200 events. So we really want that to be just kind of a community hub where people from any part of Richmond can come in, whether you're coming for marathon training or just coming for a food truck rodeo, whatever it is, we want people to come in and feel comfortable and just have a chance to interact with each other. I think one of the things we learned from 2020 is that everybody has a phone. Everybody's not afraid to hide behind their phone, but when you actually get face to face with somebody, you get to share your thoughts, and maybe you're not quite as cavalier with your attitude, but it's easier to listen and think about how other people feel and how they see the world, and together, how can we make Richmond a stronger and healthier place to live?
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the business side of things, because it's obvious when you go to a game that there's a ton of local partnerships that are happening, whether sponsors or vendors and everything in between. So tell me a little bit about how the partnerships work in the community and how you guys rely on those to make the business work.
Yeah, so to survive in the soccer world, there's no TV contract like in Major League Baseball or Major League, NBA, NFL. It's not driven by TV money. It's driven by local revenue. So we've really spent countless time and energy trying to build meaningful relationships. We don't want them to be transactional. There's plenty of people that you can go to and they'll pay you this and you get that. We want it to be transformational for their business, and it's a chance that they're seen as something that's making Richmond stronger. So we have some incredible local partners. I know I mentioned Bonds of Coors earlier. That's one of our great partners. Obviously, Ukrop's Homestyle Foods. If you go out to the stadium, we've got, we've got painting companies, we've got food companies, Defiant Food Group, Greenswell Growers, some different people that you wouldn't think of, Lansing Building Products, that really are some of these are just community-based organizations that really love the community, Dominion Energy. So we're trying to make sure we pull all these people together, and obviously the more money you bring in, the more sustainable you become. Mm-hmm. But we want to make sure that everybody that's a partner with us feels like they're getting a positive experience. And, we're continue to work hard. A guy named Drew Norris leads our sales department, and he works closely with our CEO, team president, Camp Peary. And they're really doing a great job of driving the business and opening up more revenue opportunities for us.
So definitely be reaching out to you about that opportunity for Exponent 21 in Richmond Water. So tell us a little bit about 2024. What other things? We know we have a new women's team, but what else can we expect? What are you planning? What can you reveal?
What can I reveal? Gosh, we were at a staff meeting this morning, so we're working hard. The goal is to have a Jumbotron video board. Oh, wow. We're working on that. Not sure we're going to get that done or not, but for us, people, you feel alive at City Stadium. If you come in on the press box wall, we've got two hands and it says RVs United. Got painted that a couple years ago. And we just love the fact that it's a place where you can come and feel connected to people. But we also want to tell the story better. And, without having a video board or live LED boards around the field, it's harder to tell our story. We have a lot of, signboards. Things are kind of just standalone, right?
Yeah.
So for us, if we can bring the video board in, it changes the dynamic of, we can interview people at the game. We can have the kiss cam that everybody loves, right? The dirtiest car in the parking lot, all these different things. But we really want to showcase replays and make it feel like a bigger event. I think, we've had plenty of people come out, and you said you came out last year and I think you had a good time. We have plenty of people that say, I don't want to go out to City Stadium. They haven't been out there in 10 or 20 years. So what we've done, we put about $3.5 million in the stadium right now. And if you come out there, it's a different experience. It's not perfect. It's still old, right? So it's got that charm and some great aesthetics to it. But we want to make sure when people come out, they're seeing the best in technology. We do have some fiber in the stadium, so you can be on your phone, because I know the young population loves to take videos of themselves and post them and talk on social media, which is great. But we want to make it the place where you come and just feel like you're connected to the Richmond community. And, getting that Jumbotron video board, I think that's a game changer. The other thing, it activates a lot of other things that we can do. Watch parties throughout the season. We've got the Euros coming up. You've got the Olympics coming up. So it gives you a chance to showcase different events on the video board and bring people from Richmond to a central location. I think the best part about City Stadium, and I know people talk about the Coliseum and the Diamond, everybody needs a new stadium, right? But we have the stadium that's in the heart of the city, that's the oldest around, that brings people from Chesterfield, Henrico, the city of Richmond, Hanover, Goochland. It's a central location that brings people into the heart of the city, and we want to make sure that heartbeat, everybody feels like they're part of it.
Well, I definitely felt that community feeling when I went. The stadium was packed, a ton of people there. It was a great time. So I'm very much looking forward to both the men's and the women's game coming up this year. Anything else that is not a secret yet?
No, obviously we had new players coming in. On the men's side, last year we had a rough finish of the season on the field. The crowd support was phenomenal, but for us, we've got some new personalities that are coming in. We think they're going to make our team a little bit stronger. And then we're excited to have Emiliano Terzaghi, our three-time MVP, goal scoring leader in the league, to come back healthy, ready to score some goals and prove to the league that he's still the best goal scorer we have in the league.
Well, we could talk all day about this, and I certainly have a lot more to learn. My wife is teaching me the game of soccer a little bit at a time, but I'll learn a lot more this year. But I want to transition a little bit, talk about Richmond and the impact, but just 1 second.
Thank you for listening to America's Healthiest City on Mike King Biz Radio Network.
You're listening to America's Healthiest City on ESPN Richmond 106.1. If you're new to the program, please check out americashealthiestcity.com to learn about our 10-year community partnership to make RVA the healthiest in America by 2033. Today we have Rob Ukrop in the studio. We're talking soccer and kickers and philanthropy, and I want to talk about the Richmond community because we are not the healthiest city in America today. It is possible. I think it's possible. I think a lot of other folks believe it's possible, but we need folks to work together. We need to have kind of a beacon of where we need to go. And there's a lot of stuff on our website about some social determinants of health and things that really matter. But I wanted to talk with you a little bit about, you've been here obviously, a long time, and you've kind of seen the city change. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about your perspective on health in the city, and what sorts of positive things are you seeing, develop?
Well, I'm far from an expert on this, but I think the nice part is, you look at the Sports Backers. It was founded in the early 90s, and what they've done to bring events and raise awareness, the running in Richmond, the amount of people that run is phenomenal. The emphasis on these different biking trails, the bike path on Route 5, things that the Sports Backers have started to think about to bring that awareness to being healthy and living a healthy lifestyle and being active. I think that's one of those things that gets lost sometimes. Having been somebody that's been into a lot of schools in the city and the counties, both, you're starting to see it, kids, the cell phone is how they operate. That's how they do everything. When I was a kid, you get on your bike and it's dark, you ride your bike home, but you find a game, you find some activity to participate in. I think, and this is not so much a shot at organized sports, but so many organized sports, like there's so many restrictions and barriers to get into it, that it used to be just get on your bike and you find a playground and you go play. And sometimes it was basketball, sometimes it was flag football, touch football, sometimes tackle, but you would find activities to do. And I think the kids are so easy to just go back home, sit on their phone, screen through, look at different things instead of actually go experience relationship building with people. I think that's one of the things that's missing. I had the good fortune before Christmas to go down to Anna Julia Cooper, and I got to go speak to the soccer team down there. And it's cool. These guys, they love soccer. They came out to some games this past season, and we did a few drills together, and just getting people excited about different things you can do to stay physically fit. And it doesn't mean you're going to be a professional one day, but you can get a lot more out of your body if you take good care of it. Healthy eating, I think. I know personally, this is every year I give something up food-wise, and this year I've decided to give up soda, so I'm on my day and a half into no soda at all. So it's been a good challenge for me. But how do you show the discipline for kids and challenge them to go participate in your neighborhood, go find something to do, find a basketball court, go on a bike ride. There's just so many different ways they stay healthy and active. And I think with the phone, there's it's obviously a down thing to the community. To me, the phone.
Well, I don't remember. I wish I knew who the author was. I think it was New York Times. Prediction for 2024 is that millennials and Gen Zs will spend less time on their phone on social media and actually go outside. So I don't know where they get this data from or what they're.
Yeah, I don't know who they ask, because everywhere I go, I'm like, if you were just, I'm terrible. I go walk my dogs. It's one of my best sources of exercise. And, I'm walking my dog and I'll check my phone, right? So, how do you make it so it's not part of your daily? And, the problem is now you got your music on there, and you can take your picture. So everything's tied to that phone. But, Richmond's it's a really neat place. There's a lot of people that want to help children. To me, good habits, watching how your mom and dad act, how they behave, how they eat, use of alcohol, different things that, can get you sidetracked. I think watching how your parents, I think that sets a big tone. And if it's not your parents, your teachers, and how do they interact, how they behave, those are important pieces to me.
So I noted that you were a Leadership Metro Richmond Quest graduate from a little over a decade ago. I wanted to, you've certainly been involved in the community before that, but that is a connector for folks, and it kind of opens up our mind to some different things. I want to know maybe what areas in the community from a philanthropic standpoint you're making investments of time, energy, money, things that you might want to turn folks' attention to.
Yeah, so for me, I guess we kind of operate off of the share your time, talent, and treasure. Sometimes you can share your time, sometimes your treasure, sometimes your talent, sometimes you can do all three. So, I know my family, we're very passionate about sports and how does it make the community stronger. So we spend a lot of time with the Richmond Kickers. We work with the RVA Sports Foundation, who actually holds the lease for City Stadium, but RVA Sports Foundation also has a program called RV Access, which is a special needs soccer program that we run at Collegiate and at City Stadium throughout the year. So it's a chance for kids that have special needs to play soccer, find a buddy, meet them at their level. A lot of these nonprofits bring you to what they want. We kind of go to where the kid is. And we've had some great success with our pro players showing up out there unannounced and interacting with these kids. And we've got some kids, Ryan and Tegan, and these kids, they just love being around the pro guys. And our guys are meaningful, and they want to build these relationships with these kids. And then the other thing for me is really Swim RVA. Out there at Ukrop Park off Iron Bridge, there's a 50,000 square foot aquatic center. What happens at Swim RVA? Starting that was 2008, 2009. The goal was to teach every second grader in the region to swim, and we're getting closer to achieving that goal. We have this great natural asset with the James River. I grew up, I learned to swim at Willow Oaks when I was 6, 7 years old. My mom and dad, we went out there, and I got to learn how to swim by a guy that now I think he's some type of heavyweight doctor. I'm like, man, that was his first job. So for me, Swim RVA, the work that they're doing in the community, lifeguards is a great entry point for our first job and teaches you life skills. And, that's a pretty big job for a 16, 17-year-old that you might have to save somebody that drowns in the water, right? So this first aid and how do you use the workforce development, Swim RVA is doing a great job of that. And really, so these kids all around the region know how to swim, because there's nothing worse when you see that somebody drowns. I mean, it's super sad, especially, the other part is how do you activate people so they feel comfortable around the river? Do you want to get on a float if you can't swim? Probably not. So to me, those are the really RV Access with RV Sports Foundation and Swim RV, the two things that I'm most passionate about in our family.
I'm starting to think I should have my wife do this interview because she was a lifeguard when she was in high school. She did actually save somebody. So a traumatic experience for anybody that has to do that. So with a couple of minutes left, I wanted to give you a chance, actually ask you a favor. If you could tell us maybe somebody who you'd recommend come on this show. We're looking for good ideas, small, big, otherwise, and really want to just connect with people who are making a difference.
Yeah, so my recommendation was a guy named Adam Kennedy, who's the executive director of actually Swim RVA. Adam is also a Davidson guy. He got hired right around 2010, right when we were starting to go in the ground to build a pool facility. And his just passion for the community, the fundraising component to run that facility. I mean, he is a jack of all trades. He has this love for Richmond, and it's somebody that didn't grow up here. It's nice to see. I know you were saying that you're not from here, and people just come into Richmond and they fall in love with it and they embrace it and they want to make it stronger and better. And to me, Adam is one of those guys. I played a little golf with him and spent some time in board meetings with him, but he's a guy that, he's worked with Henrico County, Chester County, City of Richmond to allow these kids to swim. I mean, I think some of the work that Swim RVA's done through Adam, they've got 2 new pools in Henrico County that, 10 years ago, nobody would have thought of. But what's happening at Ukrop Park with the Collegiate School Aquatic Center, you're starting to see people starting to think water is a way to take care of our community, really look out for people. I think the coolest thing, and he would tell the story better than I, but every time I go over there, sometimes I walk by the Learn to Swim pool and I look over there and there's these older people. I'm like, what's the deal? And he's like, their grandchild is learning how to swim. They want to learn to swim so they can swim and go in the river, go in the pool together. So, to me, athletic sports, you talk about the lifetime sports, golf, tennis, swimming is kind of one that nobody thinks about. It's great for your health. It doesn't hurt your joints. I know my dad, who's 77, he swims almost every day. So there's so many active things that you can do through the swimming.
Well, I appreciate that. I will definitely give Adam a call and see if we can get him in here in the studio. I really appreciate you coming in today. Before you go off, will you tell folks who are looking to support the Kickers or anything you're into, how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, just if you go to richmondkickers.com, that's our link website. So you can find me there. It's pretty easy. Ukrop at richmondkickers.com. Shoot me an email. Most people have my cell phone out there too. So our goal is to really activate the community and make sure that people feel like they're part of it. And if you're looking to get connected, we have opportunities, whether it's volunteering or connecting with different groups. But we're really proud to be part of this community. So.
Well, I appreciate you coming and sharing your story. I enjoyed learning more about you and what you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. This was America's Healthiest City on ESPN Richmond 106.1. Catch us every Thursday at 6 a.m. here on the network, and go to americashealthiestcity.com to learn more about our program. Please check us out on YouTube and Spotify. And that was actually not Spotify, that's Instagram, at America's Healthiest City. Catch us next week. Thank you.